We will be covering the USMNT, trying to, who should the USMNT hire to replace Berhalter. We'll talk about some of the post-game incidents that occurred during the Uruguay-Colombia match. We'll discuss England's run to the final, whether it was luck or skill. We'll talk about James Rodriguez and the level he's been performing at this Copa America, the stunning revival. And make sure you stick around for the end of the show. Well, I'll be giving you my reaction to some of the top soccer headlines. Before we start off, I'd like to ask that you like and follow the show. Also, we get a number of questions that come in during the show. So to ensure that your questions get read on the air, I ask that you use the tips and donations link at gsmcpodcast.net with your questions. This puts your questions at the top of the list so that I can see it. And it also really helps grow the show. So again, the link is gsmcpodcast.net. We gotta start off with the USMNT. They're trying to replace Gregg Berhalter. Obviously, after he was sacked, and in my opinion, sacked rightfully so, it was just not good enough for the U.S. men's national team anymore. Whether he was ever good enough or not is a whole different discussion. But what's not a discussion now is that he has been fired, and it's time that this organization is looking for a replacement. Obviously there was the unrealistic, maybe saying unrealistic is a little too far, but there was the heavy, there was the reaches, and of course Jurgen Klopp, being out there, it brought some U.S. men's national team fans to, a dream sort of scenario. But, obviously, it's not feasible. Apparently, reportedly, he turned down negotiations and that he's uninterested in the offer. This was reported according to some very, very good news reports. There was initial contact through, their intermediaries, but Jurgen Klopp declined, and he wants, he reiterated what he told us earlier, and that was he wanted a break from football, and obviously this is not a big surprise. It is what it is. We saw what Tim Howard said a few days ago, saying if he was in charge of U.S. soccer, he would fly to Spain, which I believe that's where Jurgen Klopp lives, and he'd like to pay him a visit and try to he said, I believe I could convince him to take the USMNT job, quote unquote. That's what he said. Yeah, it's a unrealistic dream, and now we gotta go back to the real world scenario, and obviously there are some decent candidates remaining, very, very good candidates. I'll break them down. I'll break down, U.S. soccer's incompetent, so maybe their favorites will be a little bit different than me, obviously. But there's other good options. For me, my favorite option from the realistic ones has to be Hervé Renard. Hervé Renard, brilliant coach in the fact that he has accomplished more with less. He has accomplished better than the sum of their parts. He's accomplished teams, he's made them better than the sum of their parts. Individually, there's been players that are not at the levels, that shouldn't be playing as well as they've been playing, but he's made them better with the way he won the AFCON with Zambia, a perfect example, or with what he did with Saudi Arabia, beating Argentina in the opening game, being so close to getting a result against Poland, which could have probably been enough to push them into the round of 16. I love Hervé Renard. I love his style of play. I think when you watch his team play, they have a clear identity. You could saw from the clip at halftime of the Argentina game, he's a good motivator. He's someone, he's somebody that the team will listen to. We saw also in that video that he spoke English, which has been a very important factor in past when it comes to hiring coaches for this U.S. organization. They want someone to speak English. He can come in and he knows English. You can see it there. I don't think, and I think it'll be, the offers in terms of how much he'll make, it'll be a realistic offer. Egypt and Nigeria made official offers to Hervé Renard, and they've both sums have been around 2 million a year, which is around what Gregg Berhalter makes right now. So I don't think the salaries can even be an issue with Gregg Berhalter. I think everything is lined up that this could be the perfect opportunity. He's very successful on the international scene as well. The thing with Jurgen Klopp is this was a manager who's successful in club football. We have not seen him at all in international football. This is Hervé Renard, who's been successful on the international level, which is different from club football. Club football, you get every day with the players. You don't get that in international football. International football, you get certain periods and a shorter amount of time to adopt your philosophy and your tactics and all that. And Hervé Renard has been used to that already, while, Klopp hasn't. So I think Hervé Renard is a very, very, very good option. In my opinion, my favorite option. But let's be honest though. There is other there are other options that the U.S. Soccer Federation might prefer, because they are incompetent. Like someone from FLS, I heard a lot about Steve Cherundolo, Jim Curtin. The MLS managers that I like the most is Wilfred Nancy. I think what he's done since taking over for Thierry Henry has been really phenomenal. I think also with Thierry Henry, he was kind of the de facto coach there at Montreal in terms of the tactics, and he was assistant for a very long time there. And then what he did following with Columbus Crew in terms of their style of play. I like the way that they play. I think he's a no-nonsense type of head coach, a tactician of the game. And for me, he's a really, really good manager. What he did in the first season, finishing third in the standings in a very attractive style of football, that's the important thing. He has a set identity. He plays attractive football. And I believe we need a coach that doesn't have any sort of pragmatism to him, because that's some of the problems with Berhalter. Berhalter at certain times was very, very pragmatic. On the other hand, this attractive style, we're going to go into games trying to win rather than trying to avoid to lose. He also won an MLS Cup with Columbus Crew, and he actually became the first black coach to win the MLS Cup with that attractive style of play. So, and it shows he's a winner. You know what I mean? He did within a season, within I believe as his first season, he did what Gregg Berhalter could not do at Columbus Crew for I believe Gregg Berhalter was at the was with Columbus Crew for, I believe it was 5 seasons. In one season he accomplished what Gregg Berhalter couldn't do with 5 seasons. He actually won a trophy, won MLS Cup in his first full season For me, he has to get massive, massive consideration. Not because of that, but because of the style of play. It seemed like the players are bought in, and they have a special sort of swagger watching them play. So I think Wilfred Nancy has to be an option, especially amongst the MLS coaches. I love him the best. There is also, there is also a thing that might throw off the U.S. Soccer Federation. Maybe they want to hire an American. Now, for me, I think that's wrong. I think you hire the best coach. Foreigner, non-foreigner, you hire the best coach you think. Now, if the best coach you think is American, which I wouldn't agree with it because I don't think the best coach that the U.S. could get right now is American. Now, if you deem out of all the necessary candidates, the best candidate is American, that is fine by me. But if you can get a guy like Wilfred Nancy, who in my opinion is better than the likes of Steve Cherundolo, and all that, I would get Wilfred Nancy. Now, someone who I don't think is a bad option, that some people will think is a bad option, is Jim Curtin. I think Jim Curtin is not a horrible idea. I don't, because number one, he's been a candidate in the past with the past USMNT coach options, and he's made Philadelphia Union a consistent team, a consistent force. But they had a really, really bad 2024, which could make it, makes it a little bit hard for him. And he hasn't really done much outside Philadelphia Union. But I definitely think out of the MLS options, he's probably second. I think if you look at other Americans, Pellegrino Matarazzo, what he's done at Hoffenheim in Europe, I think he could be a decent option. I think Cherundolo, he could be a good option. And he's been part of the USMNT setup. But again, I think that's just a little bit underwhelming in my opinion. But yeah, some of these other options that people want to talk about are not realistic. We're not going to get Jose Peckerman, who's actually 74. I don't even know if he would be interested. Others is like Stefano Pioli, David Moyes. I don't think these are players managers that are really, that really would fancy taking over this job. I don't think so. I think Joachim Low could be a decent option in the fact that he's already won a World Cup, and anyone who's won a World Cup should be serious contenders. But he has been out of the game for a while, and would the USMNT job entice him? I definitely think if it would entice him, he should be a candidate we're seriously looking at. Because if you won a World Cup, we ought to look at you. You know what I mean? If you're good enough to be a manager of a team that won a World Cup, you're definitely an option. Because we don't have that kind of sort of managers on the radar that are willing to take over the USMNT. So, I don't know. I think it's an interesting way that they go. I definitely think we can look at all these dream options, but I feel like we're going to go with the boring hire in Steve Cherundolo or Jim Curtin or something of that sort. I don't think we're going to do something a little bit next level, because I think the U.S. Soccer Federation is going to play it safe, which I don't love, and I think it's going to cause some more years of misery. But, we'll see. Maybe they decide to be competent. I don't know. You never know. But for me, I told you all my options. I think Hervé Renard will be my number one. I think number two will be Wilfred Nancy. And I think number three would probably be... I don't know. I think there's a big drop off after number two. I have to be honest. I think number three. I have no idea. Who number three would be. Maybe Cherundolo. Maybe. just out of lack of options at this point. Maybe new candidates come out, but Jim Curtin, I don't know. Actually, Pellegrino Matarazzo, what he did in Europe and in Hoffenheim, being an American, I think he deserves a serious look. He's been looked at in the past, so yeah, I'll go Pellegrino Matarazzo. But it doesn't seem like he's interested in a managerial position for a country. I think he really likes the club football scene, so don't even think that's a realistic option. Short break here coming up. When we come back, we'll react to some of the post-game incidents that occurred after the Uruguay-Colombia game.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign.
I wanna be the greatest. Everybody on the fake shit. I look around and feel like everybody is the fakest. I make this every day and I'm impatient, hoping one day I blow up from the basement. Statement, the top is so vacant. I don't hear shit that I think is amazing. Waiting for my day when I'm playing sold out shows where 1,000 faces. Hey, give me that crown, get in my way and to be put down. It ain't your place, all this my town. If I want that shit, then I'll get it right now. I'm losing it, the noose it fits. I'm losing shit, a stupid myth. You choose to live or choose to dip. You choose to fight or lose your grip and lose a gift.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind?
Short break here coming up. When we come back, we react to the post-game incidents that occurred after Uruguay versus Colombia. Uruguay versus Colombia. What a game. What a dogfight that ended up literally turning into a physical fight in the stands as some Uruguayan players went into the stands to fight. Defending their family members who were in danger. When I was doing more research, we know the way soccer fans behave and how American fans behave is different. And I guess the police and all that expected these fans to behave themselves, which did not happen. When it comes to American football, yes, there's certain sections for fans, but they're not, there's no away section. The fans are not separated the way they're separated in European football or South American football. The fans are not separated. Here, the fans in America, when the games happen, the fans are not sectioned, are not separated. And when you have, Uruguayan fans mixed in with Colombian fans, or in this case, Uruguayan family members mixing with Colombian fans, it can lead to very, very dangerous things because, they drink, they're passionate, and it could really, really, really boil over. And it boiled over to the point that some of the players had to enter into the stands and defend their families and fight, fans. And yeah, it was, the scenes, reminded me of the Malice at the Palace. Oh my goodness. Those scenes were absolutely sensational. Really, really bad to see. Jose Jimenez coming out saying Colombia fans were being aggressive in the stands towards the family members of Uruguayan players. And some of them had small children, even infants. So, he said, this is a disaster. Our family was in danger. We had to get into the stands to get our loved ones out with small newborn babies. There was not a single police officer, and we were there standing up for our own. There was some arguments in the midfield. Okay, and then, Canambal also came out saying with some strong statements, or releasing a statement that said Canambal strongly condemns any act of violence that affects football our workers based on the conviction that soccer connects and unites us through its positive values. There's no place for intolerance and violence on and off the field. We invite everyone in the remaining days to pour all their passion into cheering on their national team and have an unforgettable party. You know, you saw Darwin Nunez after the game almost look emotional, hugging his baby, kind of consoling him on the field after the scenes that he witnessed, what he went through. It's really, really a bad look. You could see Darwin Nunez actually being in the stands, throwing punches, getting physically aggressive with the fans. Now, a lot of times, especially in American sports, the players will get heavily punished for this. But I'd say the one time I think the players do deserve a little bit of a pass is when their family's in danger, especially coming off a loss. Even coming off of a win, you see your family in that sort of compromised position. In that split moment, logic goes out of your head. There is no logic at that point. It's all anger, and it's all protection. It's all the sense of being a protector. And you see your family in that situation, you're gonna fight. It's just by nature, almost. The love that people have for their family is very, very strong. And it's what makes them great protectors at the same time. So I'm not going to blame people for going into stands and defending their families, no matter what it took. I'm not going to blame them. Now, obviously, they're going to get investigated. There's going to be penalties. Hopefully not major penalties, because I think there should be a level of sympathy there. I remember a time after a penalty shootout, I believe it was EFL Cup or FA Cup or whatever. After a penalty shootout, Tottenham got eliminated. Eric Dyer's family members were getting abused by actual Tottenham fans, were getting abused. And Eric Dyer went into the stands to confront the fans. And they got it pretty physical. And after the game, after everything, in the post-match incident, they were asking the club. They asked Mourinho in the post-game presser, "Do you think there's going to be consequences? Is he going to get suspended? Or will there be consequences for these actions?" He says, "If Tottenham were to, hand him consequences, I will not agree." There is a level of sympathy in the fact that these people are defending their family. I also think this is a very negative indictment on CONMEBOL in the fact that they know how their fans, because the American organizers, the American stadium organizers and all that, they're not really prepared for this. They're thinking this is like a normal Carolina Panther game. Okay, just do normal security things. The way U.S. sport fans and soccer fans from overseas is completely different. There's an element of decent behavior among sport fans in America. They're very, very behaved compared to what you see in South American football or European football, especially in South American football. So for these fans to not be separated, for there not to be a huge police presence between the two fans, it just shows how badly CONMEBOL has done organizing this. That's, for my opinion. It's a big indictment on CONMEBOL, and is something that they need to fix entering the World Cup, because we don't want to see these sort of ugly scenes in the World Cup. Now, we're all hoping that FIFA doesn't allow some of the issues that we have seen occurred so far at this Copa America, and this is a learning lesson for the World Cup. But there has been some big issues in the way this has been portrayed. I mean, some big issues in terms of, that's been exposed at this Copa America regarding the turf issues, the corner kicks, how many short run-ups in the corner kicks, how from certain camera angles you can't even see the touch line on the near side because the stadium is so close to the field. You can't even see the touch line with some camera angles. These sort of issues need to be fixed because The World Cup is at a high level, and we can't have these sort of issues at a World Cup. Short break here coming up. When we come back, we'll react to, we'll talk about England's run to the final.
Looking for your daily fix of sports talk without having to pay for it? GSMC Sports Network is available on YouTube. Just search GSMC Sports Network. Get your fix of daily sports talk shows on YouTube, absolutely free. NFL, college football, NBA, MLB, MMA, UFC, fantasy football, and so much more. GSMC Sports Network has shows running all day long, with new sports shows starting every 2 hours. Just like on your favorite cable sports channel, except GSMC Sports Network is absolutely free. Just search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube to catch one of your new favorite shows, like the GSMC College Football Podcast, Chip Shot Football Podcast, Hoops and Heels Women's Sports Podcast, GSMC Basketball Podcast, and so many more. Check it out for yourself. GSMC Sports Network, now available on YouTube absolutely free. Search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube right now.
Before the break, we discussed some of the post-game incidents that occurred after Uruguay versus Colombia. We move on to react to England's run to the final, whether it was lucky or not. Look. Obviously, the short answer is yes. That is the short answer, and I can end the segment here. But I'm here to go in depth on why it is. But I want to go on depth why it is a lucky run. First of all, let me make it rather simple for you. The England men's national team was 30 seconds away from one of the most humiliating exits in major international tournament history. They were that on the round of 16 against Slovakia. They were a bicycle kick wonder goal, last minute goal away from being eliminated in the round of 16 of the European Championship. Now they find themselves in the final, but let's not forget that they have been putrid this entire tournament. Putrid. They've had one good half this entire tournament, and it was the first 45 minutes that they played against the Dutch. Apart from that, they have been completely horrible to watch this entire European Championship. Bad performance after bad performance after bad performance, dropping points to teams like Denmark and Slovenia, relying on a last-minute equalizer to get past Slovakia, relying on a penalty shootout to get past Switzerland, the first decent team they played at this European Championship. And then the Dutch, I'll give you what, they had a brilliant 45 minutes against the Dutch. Second half, they resulted to negative England, but we forget about that because of the brilliant first half they'd had. And whether or not we should forget about the second half or not is a different question. But I guess we give them the sympathy of the doubt because of the low expectations regarding England performances. They have been putrid. I think their manager has been so reactionary at this European Championship. So reactionary, waiting to make subs till they go down against Switzerland. Keeping the same putrid starting lineup over and over again, even though it's clearly not working. But somehow, and yes, they've had a very fortunate draw. They have been blessed from Almighty God, because they get to play Slovakia in the 16th, Switzerland in the quarterfinals, and what's it called? Netherlands in the final, which was actually a third place team. Do you know France, just to get to the semifinal, they had to take on Belgium, just to get to take on Spain in the semifinal. Spain, yes, they played Georgia in the round of 16, but then they had to get past Germany, the best team in the tournament besides Spain themselves, and they also take on France just to reach the final. These are top teams that these teams are having to face on that side of the bracket. But England did not play a single team to the caliber of what France had to play just to reach the semifinal. You know, Germany and France are what Spain got to play in Germany and France. They're both much better teams than any team England has gotten to play to reach the final. And despite how easy the set of fixtures have been for England, they still relied on games against England. They relied still on penalties against Switzerland and last minute bailout moment of magic equalizers, and also England's moments of getting goals in their games. Besides obviously that, I keep saying besides that first half against the Netherlands, but mostly all their goals have came from individual moments of magic that got them through. When you look at in the group stages, it was an individual moment of quality that they get their first leading goal from the Denmark. They weren't really dominating when they got that goal. In fact, they started suffering after that goal. You look at the Slovakia game, individual moment of magic to push that game into extra time after looking putrid. They didn't have a shot on target until 94 minutes against Slovakia. Against Switzerland, really struggled throughout the game. Ended up, suffering a late go-ahead goal, but then quickly responding through an amazing individual moment of magic from Bukayo Saka. And in that Dutch game, in the semi-final, the second half, both teams were really putrid, not creating much opportunities. Another brilliant individual moment of magic from Ollie Watkins sees them through to the final. It's just, for me, it's been astounding, the luck from this team. They've been extremely lucky. And sometimes you make your own luck. And what you can't argue is the quality of the players. England have some very, very, very good quality players. There is no arguing that. But are these really players that should go to the way that they've performed? Are they a final team? No. And should they beat Spain? Have they been better than Spain this tournament? Hell no. You never know what will happen in an individual game, but for me, Spain are massive favorites because they've just played the better football. I think Dani Olmo and Fabian Ruiz will pick up pockets of space that will really make it hard for England to defend. I think England will get pushed back continuously throughout the game and really struggle to play out. And yeah, I can't believe England's luck to be where they're at. They came into this tournament on poor form, coming off of a loss against Iceland, and they've continued that bad form into the European Championship. But there is good. They do have the intangibles. They do have the belief, which is good, despite the fact that they've been performing pretty bad. I still think they have a sense of believing amongst the team, which is very, very good. I still think they have a belief amongst the team. I think they have a little bit of a blinded arrogance, which could be good at certain times, and I think has helped them. Despite their poor performances, I think their blinded arrogance and the fact that they never think that they're out of the game and that they're always still in it has helped them a lot. But I can't describe it. It actually really frustrates me, the luck that they have, because how do England continuously get these easy draws to reach this? I mean, you get to play Slovakia, Switzerland, and the Netherlands, who finished third place. And yes, Switzerland has been good at this tournament, but they're not at the level of a Portugal, France, Spain, Germany, even Belgium. They're not at that sort of level. And then you get to play a Netherlands team that finished third in their group, that really showed their limitations in that England game, because in that England game, they were putrid in that second half. Really putrid, and they never seemed like they could score a goal, especially in that second half. So yes, I think England's run to the final was very, very lucky. And I'm very, very interested how they approach the final, whether they go very, very pragmatic or they go and try to open up against Spain and try to play football, end-to-end football with Spain. I don't know what. I think knowing Gareth Southgate, and that's the thing also, Gareth Southgate has reached another final. Like, he's done such a great job at fooling us. He hasn't fooled me, but he's fooled people. He has fooled people. And honestly, now it's getting to the point that if he doesn't win, maybe we can start deeming him unlucky. You know, to reach a final twice, a semifinal another year, and not to have a single trophy to show for it, you're reaching unlucky territory. But I think the way that they play, you know, I don't think they're at the caliber of a team that should win a trophy. And I think eventually they get got out every time for a reason. They just don't have that extra quality. They don't play that style of play that's conducive to winning to tournaments. And I think eventually they'll pay. And let's all hope Spain makes them pay, because if England win a European Championship, oh my goodness, I might hibernate for the next 10 years. Lord have mercy. Short break here coming up. When we come back, we'll react to James Rodriguez and how he's performed at these Copa America.
For the best and latest podcasts available anywhere, go to the podcast app on your cell phone and type in GSMC to access free content-rich podcasts on health and wellness, book reviews, sports, entertainment, relationships, social media, movies, technology, finance, and even weird news. Subscribe and download the GSMC Podcast Network's family of shows, available everywhere podcasts are found.
We move on to the next topic of the day. James Rodriguez, how is he performing at this level at this Copa America 2024? Look, when I figured out that he's going to be involved at this Copa America, I wasn't surprised, because I know he's still been involved with the Colombia setup, but I looked at him as purely from a leadership standpoint. I think maybe he get a game here and there, but I did not believe that. I didn't believe that he'd really. I didn't believe that he could really have this impact, but to come in, have 6 assists, to surpass Messi's record for most assists in a single edition for Copa America. He's been absolutely brilliant. Not just the leadership, but the performance. He's been amazing, and he's been in the best 11 in my opinion at this Copa America. I think it's absolutely sensational, I think he's absolutely sensational, and what he's done is brilliant. To have 6 assists, and let's be fair, and let's be honest, he has not been at the level since about 20. If we're being really accurate, about 2016-17, but about 2018 is fair. You know, he has not been at that top level in terms of club, but in terms of country, he's always showing up. He did have a little bit of the fallout with the previous Colombian manager, and it's limited his involvement. He wasn't involved really in the last Copa America because of that. But with this new brilliant manager coming in for Colombia, involving James again, man, wow. That old school style number 10 that we see really dying from football. It's so refreshing to watch him play, because I love that number 10 position. I love the creativity number 10, the number 10. You know, nowadays People don't rely on creativity from a number 10. They rely on more pressing, winning the ball up high, and they think that's the main form of playmaker. It's more efficient than our number 10. But, it's still good to watch a refreshing number 10. He's absolutely brilliant, and even Luis Diaz, the way he's been touched, he got emotional talking about James Rodriguez. That's how you know that what this dude does is it's more than football for his team. He's really like a brother to this team, a leader. He got emotional talking about James, saying, I told him, I've always let James know since I got to the national team. I let him know that he's always been my idol. Him and Falcao and Cuadrado, who I watched play on TV, being able to share with them fills me with pride. I always tell him, you are great. I admire you so much. You deserve it. He deserves it. This is his cup, no doubt. We're seeing him at his best. We know what he's gone through, what he suffered. Football is a sport of moments. Football gave him revenge, and he's showing he has a lot of class, a lot of ability to give an assist, to play football, how it's supposed to be played. So he deserves it. He really deserves it. And and they will be really, really good. Now, whether or not we'll be able to win Copa America, it's going to be very, very difficult because, as you know, Argentina are are a real team. They're coming off a World Cup win, and they got that number 10 themselves, that old magisterial type of player in Messi. But man, it would be great to see James Rodriguez win a Copa America, win his first major international trophy for Colombia at this, in 2024. To a less extent, it'll be like Messi when he won his Copa America. To a less extent, because, it's different. It's different the weight and the pressure that was on Messi to perform for Argentina compared to James, and losing the amount of finals that Messi has lost with Argentina. It is different, but I think it's similar. In certain aspects, it's also similar. When James was talking to. He also got emotional. He also got a little emotional talking about his Copa America after breaking Messi's record in terms of most assists. After where he got the assist to I believe it was Lerma in the game against Uruguay. He also got a little bit emotional talking to reporters after the game, saying, we had an excellent game. The referee was not good. The boys who defended well. The game was very complicated against a very tough opponent, but we won a well-deserved place in the final. I've been here for almost 13 years wanting this. We're happy. And they have a chance to they have a chance to really make some history for their country. When he was saying, I'm saying his quotes, when he was saying, for me, I've been here for almost 13 years wanting this, he ended up taking a deep breath, to stop the tears, and he said, we're happy, and he ended up walking away. Just shows the emotions of the situation. It was absolutely brilliant to watch it live. Actually, I watched that presser live, and it was a beautiful moment. We know James Rodriguez. He happens to be a little bit on the more emotional side. We've seen the emotions after losing Copa America, round knockout stage games, the World Cup 2014 when they lost to Brazil. And he's a very, very passionate human being, passionate player, which Colombians in general, they're extremely, extremely passionate and extremely, extremely emotional. And that's just the nature of their country. And I love Colombian fans. The way that they travel to World Cups, the way that they travel to this Copa America. Now, hopefully, they end up actually qualifying for this World Cup, which is very, very likely now with the way that this team is performing. Man, they're going to be well supported, and they're going to be a serious outfit at the World Cup. really are, and I'm very, very excited because the World Cup being in the US, you know, there'll be a home team in plenty of the games that they'll play. Mostly all of the games that they play, honestly. All of the games that they'll play, they will be a home team. The fans will take over these stadiums, and it's going to be a brilliant, brilliant scene to watch. I'd like to see, I don't know, I think there'll be a pot 1 team, but it'll be really, really cool to see now if Mexico is playing at the Azteca. There's no national team in the world that will come in. There's no fan base in the world that will come in and dominate that stadium. Azteca will be packed with Mexicans, because Mexican fans have a huge, huge passion too. Even when their team is crap, like they were at the World Cup, the way that they took over stadiums at the World Cup in Qatar, the distance that they're passionate fans. That's what I love about Mexican fans. They're so passionate. It can lead to bad sides. Obviously, we've seen the negatives, but the passion amongst the team, the way that they sing the national anthem, and you see that as well with Colombia. I love seeing passionate nations, and the way James is adored by the Colombian fans is brilliant. You know, James, he's had his moments in major international tournaments. What he did at the World Cup in Brazil, being the Golden Boot, leading that team to a quarterfinal in which they narrowly lost to Brazil, earning that big money move to Real Madrid, where he had 85 appearances, scored 29 goals for them, had good moments at Real Madrid, even having a good season at Everton, playing under Ancelotti. And then now he moving on, playing in Qatar. Then he went to Olympiacos, and now playing in Sao Paulo. Hopefully he can continue to be at a good enough level that he can be a very, very good outfit for them at the World Cup. Because at the World Cup he will only be 35, which is nowadays that's not the oldest age in the world. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm very excited for James. It's very, very good to watch, and you know, I'm a neutral at this Copa America final. You know, really, despite me being a Brazil fan, I'm really a neutral at this point in age. Yes, I should probably be rooting for Colombia, but it would be nice to see Colombia. It would be nice to see Colombia win it, because I think James does deserve it based on the performance at this Copa America. And yes, a lot of his assists came on set pieces, but he's really been an outlet. He's really been played like a proper number 10, and he's been very creative for Colombia this tournament. He really allows them to play a very good style. He has the creativity from midfield to pick out passes. It's still there, which even when your athleticism goes down, that creativity does not go away. And you can still see the creativity amongst him. But is he able to continue this at the next World Cup? We'll see. But at the end of the day, right now we got to be focused on the final. But his performance has been absolutely amazing. Short break here coming up. When we come back, we'll react to some of the top soccer headlines. before we start off, before the break, we talked about James Rodriguez and the level he's been performing at in 2024. We move on to react to some of the top soccer headlines. Joshua Zirkzee. It's looking like Joshua Zirkzee to Manchester United is happening. The Dutch attacker, who was part of Bologna's brilliant season this season, getting into the top 4. You know, it seems like he is close to signing with United. United agreed on a 42.5 euros million dollar move, 43 equivalent to $43 million dollars, which is more than his release clause, I believe. Yeah, this is they've already agreed personal terms with him, so you know it's looking like he's gonna move to Manchester United on a 5-year deal, following the medical that will happen on a Friday, which technically we're on Friday, so later on today. And yeah, he scored 12 goals for Bologna last season. I don't know how exactly they plan on fitting him with Rasmus Højlund. It'll be interesting to see. But I think he's a good signing. He's a young player with potential. But yeah, there's also been other deals that United have made. They have brought in Van Nistelrooy and Ren Hack to 2-year contracts to be a part of Erik ten Hag's assistant coaches. And Stephen McLaren and Darren Fletcher, they'll also stay on as first-team coaches. And Ten Hag said, "I am delighted that Rene and Ruud have agreed to join our project, adding a wealth of experience, knowledge, and new energy to the staff. Now is a good time to refresh the coaching team as we look to build on the achievements of the past 2 years and push to the next level." By the way, speaking of Donny van de Beek, he's going to be leaving Girona on a deal worth 500 million, 500k, not 500 million, oh my god, 500,000 euros, but it could rise to 9.1 million through add-ons. Very, very sad. The downfall of Donny van de Beek's career since he went to United. United have killed a lot of player careers over the past few years, and I think Van de Beek has been probably the worst one. He was a player with very, very high potential, especially after that campaign with Ajax where they reached the semifinals of the Champions League. But now where we find himself in, man, the downfall needs to be studied. It's, in my opinion, it's so sad. It really is so sad. Athletic Club President John Uriete has said that RF, the Royal Federation of Spanish Football, have failed to protect Nico Williams from a quote-unquote bombardment amount of questions regarding his future, with, you know, a lot of speculation regarding Barcelona being very, very interested in the clubs. He's been asked in so many interviews during media sessions that if he remains at Athletic, if he wants to remain at Athletic, if he would like to link up with Lamine Yamal at Barcelona. Joan Laporta did come out saying that the Catalan club, you know, has the money, has the financial capability to sign Nico Williams, who does have a release clause around 58 million euros, which is around 63 million pounds, despite all the financial issues that we know about the club. But I would like to see if Barcelona really prioritize the signing. It seems like they will, but you never know. Uriarte, who is the president. John Uriarte, who is the president of Atletico Bilbao, you know, he came out with some comments saying Nico a player who is committed to Athletic has been subjected to a bombardment of questions about his future in an excessive and uncontrolled manner while at the European Championship. The RFEF have not been able to protect him. Respect between all the actors who make football is a fundamental basis, or that's how we view it at Athletic, which does not include subjective players with contracts at one club to public pressures to join other clubs. Look, I don't know if it's the RFEF responsibility to prevent him from getting asked questions regarding the future, but it definitely seems like Athletic Club's president seems to think so. And I'm interested to see whether or not Barcelona are able to get this deal done, and whether Joan Laporta is being honest when he says Barcelona has the financial capabilities to make that move. We do have some comments questioning that Barcelona has to sell some Spotify Stadium fountain water before they can buy Williams. That really seems like the financial issue they find themselves in right now. By the way, we didn't talk about this during the Uruguay-Colombia segment regarding the fight, but CONMEBOL have indeed opened up an investigation about the Uruguayan players clashing with the Colombian fans at the end of the Copa America semifinal match. And you know, there are players and staffs involved from both Colombia and Uruguay, so it will be a long investigation. CONMEBOL came out and said, CONMEBOL has opened an investigation to understand the sequence of events and the responsibilities of those involved in the acts of violence that occurred at the end of the match. We want to reaffirm and warn that no actions will be tolerated that tarnishes the global football celebration. It is unacceptable that an incident like this turns passion into violence. Therefore, no behavior that harms the sporting competition will be tolerated. It will be very, very interesting for me if CONMEBOL comes down with heavy actions. Because look, when you look at it from a bubble, it's a very bad look. Darwin Nunez going into the stands, throwing punches. But at the same time, you know, that's you have to be sympathized with the families being involved. That's something you don't play with. And by the way, Liverpool have also came out saying they want to talk to Darwin Nunez, and they want to hold urgent talks with Darwin Nunez and the Uruguayan Football Federation, because they want to understand what was going on, and they want to go interested in what's going on with the physical confrontations, and it's there's a lot of people involved in this. I just want to read the comments. They're already starting it right after the match. It wasn't just the fans abusing the fan. Right after the fan, so Uruguay were being sore losers. But the Colombian fans, they were behaving ridiculously. But at the same time, yes, the Colombian fans have responsibility, but I think CONMEBOL is major to blame for the lack of organization. Allowing Uruguayan Colombian fans to be within the same vicinity is wrong. They should be separated, and there should be heavy armed guards separating it, because we know how passionate South American football fans are. I think CONMEBOL has heavy blame in this too, no doubt about it, especially in this sort of type of game. There was some transfer news that was going on. Chelsea opened up talks with Adeyemi. Not a fan of that, but it happened. It was going on. Don't think that's the best news. Palhinha, he's official to Bayern. He's official to Bayern. I'm trying to see. There was some news going on recently, but I don't I don't know where it went. I don't know where it went. Obviously, okay. No. Yeah, no, I do not know where it went, actually. I deleted a tab. Yes, Chelsea have been linked with Adeyemi. Major sources reported it. But apparently, Chelsea were snubbed, and he's reluctant to join Chelsea. I don't think that's the kind of profile of players that Chelsea need. I think Chelsea have a lot of players already that have a lot of good ability but no end product. And I think Adeyemi coming in, he gives us something similar. But I don't know. I don't know. It's interesting. I think Chelsea, they don't have a plan in terms of how they want to go about things. I think a lot of things that they've been doing is very reactive. But I can't speak too much about Chelsea. I'll be accused of being a hater and a fake fan. So I'm just gonna leave them be for now. Thank you for tuning into the GSMC Soccer Podcast presented by the GSMC Sports Network. Your support means a lot to us. So please remember to subscribe to the show and leave a positive review. It really does make a difference. We also invite you to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram for more content and updates. Thank you once again and have a wonderful, wonderful day.
Mm-hmm.